Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Startup Talk. And today we're talking about personal energy management. As the saying goes, an entrepreneur who is someone who will work 80 hours per week to not have to work 40 hours per week. But how to do this in a sustainable way? If you are the driving force of your company, you need to make sure that your drive is sustainable. And understanding how to manage your personal energy is one of the most important skills you can develop as an entrepreneur. And it's something that you can work on right away. So today we're going to talk about that. What are the best practices to manage your energy? Should you manage your time or your energy? And how to balance work life as an entrepreneur. Now, for the viewers among us who've just had their coffee, you could say, wait a minute, Saskia, last week you said we'd have a show with a risk-taking coach. And today I say, yes, we would. But that's the thing with live shows. Sometimes life happens or things happen and a guest isn't able to join anymore. So our guest of today was so gracious to jump on this show last minute. And I'm so happy to have her here. But first, if you're new to the show, welcome. My name is Saskia and I help people turn their passion into a thriving business. And one way that I do this is by hosting Startup Talk. Every week, I host a new guest and will cover a topic about entrepreneurship and starting your business. So if you want to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs every week to share your best practices, lessons learned, wins, and frustrations so we can grow together, then make sure to subscribe. We are live every Thursday at 7 o'clock in the evening, so literally this time, on Facebook and YouTube. And if that time doesn't work for you, then fear not, you can rewatch the episode on Facebook, YouTube, and the website of the Startup Suite. And it's also available as a podcast on Spotify and iTunes. So however you're tuning in, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And share your thoughts in the comments. Whether you're listening in live or watching the replay, that section is there for a reason. Don't leave it hanging. Let us know what you think. Now, so I guess our guest of today is the amazing Alina Toderenchuck. And for those who are following this show every week, we already know Alina. She was here a few weeks ago. But for the more recent viewers, I'll tell a bit more about her anyway. She's from Kiev, Ukraine, and she's a professional event manager. As the owner and creator of Say Events, she has hosted both online and offline events since 2008. And she just wrapped up a month-long online marathon about financial education, which I'm sure will have taken quite some of her energy. So I'm very curious to her thoughts about that. And after last show, we had a short after chat, and we came to the conclusion that the topic of today would be a perfect topic for a next show because it's a typical entrepreneurial challenge. I have it as well, especially after a good show. I just can't stop thinking about it. I'm excited, I don't sleep, and the next day I am toast because I slept so terrible. So let's give a warm welcome back to the show to Alina. Hey, Alina.
Hello, Saskia. Hello, everyone. So happy to see you again and to be here again.
It's such a pleasure to have you back again. And thank you for being so gracious to jump on board so last minute.
Always my pleasure.
So you just finished a month-long online marathon. I know a few weeks ago we spoke about it when you were still in the marathon. How did you manage your personal energy during that time?
Oh, it was actually interesting. In the beginning, when I just had this idea, I was really excited about that. So when you have a lot of energy, you easily do the tasks, and different stuff. But then when I counted everything and I understood the scope of work, like when I structurized everything, I was so down on energy because I understood how much I will need to put into this project. And also I couldn't do this myself. And I had a team who was also collaborating on that. And through my previous experience, not successful experience, I knew that your energy is basically the fuel for the whole project. So before you start anything, you need to understand that not only you will be running on this fuel, but each team participant. Each time you see them, you communicate with them, you need to encourage them so they fire up with this idea, and work for the project as well as you. So, yeah, I was down a bit in the beginning, but what helped me is that I actually saw the interest of people. And this interest the feedback that I got from people helped me, to carry on and to move on with this. So it's like two-way trip. You give people something, they give you feedback, and for some time you can just carry on and on. But in the middle part, I guess, when I understood that everything is working out, it is working well, then the energy started to fall down again. But
I think that's part of the natural process. You come up with a new idea and it's exciting, the newness, and you're high on energy, and then you realize like, oh wait, it means this and this and this and this and all this work, and then your energy dips in, and you're like, how am I going to do that all? And from there, it's either you make the climb up and you make it happen, and then still you'll have fluctuations throughout the whole period, or at a certain moment you'll crash. And I recognize what you're saying about working with team members. If you're leading a team and you're out of energy, or your motivation and inspiration is low, then your team members will pick up on that immediately.
100%, yeah. That's what happened with my previous project. Like when I was first starting Savant, I would say, because people saw that like I'm just putting it on hold, like I'm not too active on that, so that people acted the same way. But this time, actually, what helped me is conversations with friends who understand this particular topic. For example, you helped me a lot, with your support. It's really so good to talk to someone who understands, and who said, yeah, I know, been there, like.
Yeah, it's so important to not only be able to share your wins, but also just to be able to vent. I do it sometimes in my own projects. We have a klaagmuurhalfuur, which is Dutch for a half an hour of just cursing or venting. And it just, lifts spirits when people can just be like, bleh, this is stupid, or don't you just hate it when? But then once you throw it out, if you ask people afterwards, like, okay, so what do you want me to do? It's like, it'll be fine. I just needed to vent a bit. And then you can go on again.
Yeah. Or sometimes you just need to, like, I used this also, that you need just to put small tasks and to go step by step. So like, okay, we need to spend half an hour on this task and we're going to be free. And I'm like, oh, half an hour spent, I have more energy. Once you start doing this, you start getting more energy and you can do more. And so sometimes this helps. And also sometimes books really helped me, because in the beginning, I didn't have much skills on sales, for example. And also I've read books about small entrepreneurship and stuff, and really like inspiring books and books that actually got a lot of insights that you can use. And when you receive this information in the specific time when you need it and when you can implement it, it actually works out best,
Yeah, well, I think that's actually the best moment to read a book. I know it's so tempting to go and to follow the progress to learning path, where it's like, I need to learn everything and then I can do the thing. But you can't learn everything. You can't foresee everything. And it's actually just a way of preventing you doing whatever it is that you want to do. So instead, indeed, when you want to learn something, learn it at a moment when you can apply it directly in your business, in your project. So of those books, which one would you recommend?
It's actually a Russian one.
What one?
A Russian book by a Russian author. He's experienced sales representative. His name is Maxim Batarev, and his book is about sales. It's actually how it's called, 45 tattoos of a sales manager, and he's describing every tattoo that a sales manager should have, like, and what it means. And it really helped and inspired, because before I thought that I need just to do the project management, not sales, because I wasn't inspired in that. But then I actually, when you start asking questions why you are afraid of doing that and why you don't like, you understand that you just don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And when you go deeper, you understand.
Yeah.
But
well, I think that's one key of preventing overwhelm as well. It's like there is so much work to do and I don't even know how to do half of it.
Yeah,
learning how
someone
to
help me.
please someone help me, learning how to do it, or literally finding someone who you can delegate it. That can also be very helpful in that, to prevent overwhelm, and with that, by preventing overwhelm, also preventing that energy dip, right?
Yeah, but I had a person whom I could delegate it, and she is a good sales manager. But then I understood that if I myself can sell my project, how a person who is not the creator of this project can sell it. So I had to go this way step by step. I did some calls myself. I understood how the structure of the conversation works and what are people actually looking for, so that this way I could create a script for her, so she can understand how to present our project. But I would say, like, one of the most interesting insights of this marathon for me, like about energy, was actually filtering people that surround you. And this was like a huge, like a crazy understanding, because for some people, maybe I sound rude for them right now.
Well, let's not name names. That's not why we're here. But how do you recognize people? So some people, they can, suck the life out of you, or drain the life out of you, the energy out of you. How do you recognize that?
Yeah, you when for example, you feel when people do this, but sometimes it's just people who don't try to do this. They're actually wish the best for you, but when you talk to them, the first question they ask, like, what if you fail? Instead of how do you not fail, how do you
Yeah.
understand how this works, and this stuff. They try to come with a problematic way. For example, I have my friend, like, she always has this like special feature in her, that she finds always problems, in everything. Like, here is something good that has happened, and she said, yeah, it is good, but even if
Yeah.
she won $1 million, she would say, but I don't know how to spend it, and then I will spend it, and then I will have
And
no
no, I
money.
don't have it anymore. No. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's recognizable, especially people who are less interested in being an entrepreneur, or are less familiar with it. They're easily to say, like, but what if, And the thing is, you already have the what if voice in your head. You already have thought about, what if I fail? What are 101 ways that this project can fail? What you need to hear from the people around you, well, it's not the toxic positivity, but indeed thinking with you, how can you succeed? What if you succeed, and how can we make that happen?
Or at least tell you that we believe in you. Like, this is sometimes, like, if you can't say anything positive, anything supporting, just tell a person you believe in her, and it's already better than again, like, going on the same roller coaster about how this can fail. And also, there were some people that were actually my old friends, and maybe they are still not used that I am an entrepreneur, and stuff, that, like, they used to me taking their projects seriously. They used to invite me to participate in their projects, and I was always like 100% serious, and I was doing my best for their project. But then when actually I started doing mine, and I started inviting them or asking them for some promo, just sharing on their page, they eventually, like, said yeah and disappeared and
Aw.
didn't do anything, and I was like, is this really friendship? Come on.
Well, it can be a friendship, but it's not like being business buddies. I came across this post once, which was like, instead of a baby shower, we should host business startup showers. But it's like, yay, what are you offering? what can we do to help you?
Oh,
Um,
that's such a good idea.
we should totally do that. We should have a business shower. No,
Startup
but and
shower.
a startup shower. But that's a way of sticking together as a community, and that's also what you, of course, said. It's talking to people who get it and who think with you and not against you. And I think that that's very valuable. True. So, Alina, you did a month-long marathon. Now, or not always, but I often say, being an entrepreneur it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. How do you do it in a sustainable way? How do you take downtime?
I think is important to find actually something that will keep you going if you are low on the energy. And some people think that when you have a day when you have a lot of work but you don't want to work, like it's not like you ever all the time don't want to work, and it's only when sometimes you have these days when you just don't feel like working, and you're inspired with your idea and everything, but you just don't feel the energy. And I've learned that you need just to put everything away and just go for a walk.
Yeah,
And
let it
it
go.
works so well, nature, fresh air, and you giving your time to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very valuable. And I think that's also, well, nowadays you have this whole self care hype online, which is like, you deserve it. So just buy X, Y, and Z, buy this, I don't know, buy this a healthy latte or tea, or buy a new something. But that's not self care. Self care, to me at least, is really just listening to your own body and be like, okay, what's going on with me right now? And what do I need? And typically, I don't need, new shoes or a new shirt, although sometimes I really need new shoes. But most of the times, I don't. Most of the times, it's indeed just go for a walk, get your dogs, go for a walk, or just sit outside in the sun or something like that. So, what's self care for you, typically?
For me, it's just taking a pause, putting everything on hold. I like walking in the park like a lot, just music in my ears and walking around. Like I can spend a couple of hours like this, but then eventually when I come home, I have the energy. And also I'm switching, my attention to different things, to literature. Sometimes I just like to read a good book that is not connected to business, some novel, some detective, something that really engages you into the plot. Or my guilty pleasure is I love to watch series sometimes when I'm overwhelmed with work. I just need to switch to something. Hello, Netflix.
Yeah, just something easy. So, if you want to switch off, which book or which series do you watch? Would you recommend watching?
You will be laughing at me right now.
Oh, come on, I'll give you my guilty pleasure if you give me yours.
Okay, I'm rewatching Vampire Diaries right now.
Oh, I love that. I used to watch that as well. It's so much drama. Yeah. So for me, my guilty pleasure is really it's Riverdale. It's
Oh
amazing
yeah.
what happens on that. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. You you ask yourself why you're watching, but you can't watch away.
Yeah, because it's sometimes, it's even absurd, like something nonsense, like aliens or something happening, and you're still watching.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So for the viewers, also note down in the comments what is your guilty pleasure to unwind, to when you need to recharge, what do you do? And you can do it now live, but also if you're not watching this live, do it afterwards. Add it in the comments as well. We'll see that as well. So, Alina, going back to energy, your personal energy management. So, I did a bit of research about it, and there's a whole debate online about managing your time versus managing your energy. So, time is really like how long do you work, what are you working on, and energy management is more like what drives you and what drains you. How do
Mhm.
you tackle that in your day to day?
Well, I spent some time digging into that as well, because when you watch some entrepreneurs that are really successful, some of them say, hey, I work 2 hours a day, I don't spend any time, and I'm a millionaire. And some people say that if you work 2 hours a day, your business will fail. You need to work 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you have no rest. And only this way you're going to be successful. But I think, like, my body is something that always tells the truth. If I'm tired and I don't rest, it always answers with some sickness. It will
Absolutely.
eventually have what it wants. So what I figured out for myself, when I have energy and inspiration, I do some big tasks that require creativity or anything, since I have the energy. But when I'm low on energy, I do something routine. that I can mechanically do and not think about it very much. But still, we have a lot of such tasks,
Do you also plan your day according to that? So, for instance, for me, I know that I'm at my best around 10. Then the second cup of coffee went in, and I'm still in my flow. I haven't drained myself yet. Then that's when the tough work can happen. And I know in the afternoon I'm better with having calls or having alignments, because then it's still working, but it's not creating. How do you tackle that?
Well,
Do you know that?
I'm still learning. I'm still learning on that, because I'm still trying to teach myself not to work after 9 p.m., to be honest. Like, sometimes I just still do this, but I learn not to, because somehow I'm an owl, and in the evening my energy rises back again, but I try to reschedule it. And also I've seen the idea that some people just gather the creative tasks in one bunch of tasks. So when you have this creative energy, you do everything. But for me, somehow this doesn't work, because I just prioritize the tasks and just do them by priority. And so in the evening, if something is still not done, but I feel that I don't have the energy to do this, I can postpone it, because I know that all the important tasks were already done. That's why I have some tasks for a month already. Still on my list.
Yeah, but that's okay, because apparently they're not important. And yeah, you can rank them with priority. Some people use the decision like, is it important? Is it urgent? If it's not important, if it's not urgent, why would you do it? Is it just fun to do? But that works. And the thing is with that way of working, so prioritizing and then just working from the top, it gives you mind space as well, because the most important things have been done.
Yeah. And at the same time, I always, like, everyday tradition, every day I go for an hour with a coffee in the park just to hang out. I do a part of job and I go for a walk. And without this, I cannot survive.
Well, I think that's actually also a very important thing in energy management, is having habits and a system in place that works for you, that gives you energy. So for you, it's going to the park with a coffee for an hour. And for me, it's I don't know, I wake up in the morning, first I need a coffee, and then I do some exercise that wakes me up, and then I can work, And the great thing about having a system with habits is you don't think about it. You just do it. In the morning, I can make coffee while still asleep, and I can, after all, I have to be awake when I'm working out. Otherwise, I don't do it. But I used to have this internal discussion with myself about, should I work out? Nah, I don't want to, but I should though, but I don't want to, but I should, but I don't want to. And I was like, no, it's in the morning. It's work week. It's a work day. Guess I'm working out, just do the thing, because it's a habit, and then you just keep going.
I need to learn that from you. This is a habit I still need to put in my everyday routine. It's a good one.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm also still growing in there, and I've noticed I can do it in the spring and in the summer, but in autumn and winter, it's like nope. Nope. So now it's spring and I'm doing it again. Yeah. So anyway, back to energy management. So we already touched base a bit on it, but how do you balance work and life? And for instance, what you said, you can reschedule your way of thinking. As I said in the introduction, when I had a really good show, I'm excited, and afterwards I literally wake up at 3 at night, and my brain is like, I need to do this stuff and this stuff and this stuff, and I can literally tell myself, a dear brain of mine, go the f to sleep. Because you're not going to do it now. And if you don't go to sleep, you won't be doing it tomorrow. That doesn't work, sadly. So how do you tackle such things? How do you switch off?
The answer is simple. I don't.
You would get up at 3 in the night and be like, I guess I'm doing this.
Weirdly, like, maybe this is because I'm getting used to this habit not to work after 9 p.m. that strictly at 9 p.m. I start to relax. I watch series, and like if I have any idea, I just write it down in the notebook, and that's it. Like, but what I noticed for myself to balance everything out is, first of all, you should ask yourself, what do you want? In each of us, we pretend to be adults, but in each of us there is a child that needs to be cared for. And if you like don't listen to this child, then eventually you will be just one of those boring adults that is just gray and not happy and just doing regular stuff, going to regular job, and dies unhappy.
Yeah,
But
being
when you
annoyed by
understand,
that regular job because
yeah,
yeah.
and when you first ask yourself, when you put yourself first and ask, for example, when you understand that you're not comfortable with something, you ask yourself, what do you want to do, for example, and your body or your feelings are asking, hey, I need to exercise because I really feel the pain in my back, and you exercise, you understand that you did something for yourself first. And when you understood this, when you acknowledge this, you like feel the appreciation that you put yourself first, that you've given yourself something first, and then you have the energy for the whole day, to do this. But about work-life balance, I honestly, when I didn't enjoy my work very much, when I was working in the marketing agency and we were like all stressed all the time, you start an advertising campaign, it fails, you need to start it off again, like you are anxious all the time. And at this time I needed to strictly like turn off my phone at 9 p.m. so that no one touches me, because otherwise I couldn't have any rest. But then when I found something that I really like, I just go with the flow. For example, now I have the inspiration, I will write something, because I know that when I don't have an inspiration, nothing will come out. So you need to take a chance,
Yeah.
Maybe it's because with this coronavirus stuff, more time has freed. You don't need to spend time on travels, and you have more space, so you can just go with the flow of your energy and just do this way. I don't put any strict measures, to my work or anything.
No. Well, I do notice with Corona, especially. So I'm one of those people who has been working from home full time since I think a year now, and I do notice that your work is your home and your home is your work.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's really important. It's very tempting to continue even after 5 because I just want to wrap this up, or I'm in my flow, or I'm doing this. But it's very important that you can also indeed just shut down your work. And I'm very happy that I have a separate laptop for work. So then, when that closes, it's like, I'm done, bye. But yeah, I can imagine that due to Corona, having a good work-life balance is challenging. What works for me is having, one computer for one thing, one laptop for the other. Other people also say have different working spaces. That's not always the case when you have a small apartment, then you'll just have to make do. But even just having an office box, where all your office stuff is in, and at the end of the day or at the end of the week, put your stuff in there, put it away, don't look at it anymore. It will be there again tomorrow.
Oh yeah, this helps. Eventually, like when you told this, I actually understood that I'm doing this, because we set up our living room, I would say, as our office, because we have a 2-bedroom apartment, so we use just one as an office, and like on the weekend, I just don't even sit behind this table. I just don't do this because I put on the work mode. And
Yep.
I used to work even in my bed before, when you just wake up, turn on the laptop and just start working. But right now I try not to do this unless I feel not very good, and I have to do this because of this condition. And actually this works out pretty well. So you basically can go to your living room and you are in your office and you're already in the working mood. So yeah, this works out pretty well. But what do you do with your personal project? Do you also switch it off when your workday finishes?
Well, so for me, it's a bit, I should have 3 computers according to that theory, because I'm a project manager for high-tech development projects, which is as a contractor, so to speak. So that's one laptop. And then I have the startup suite, and I just have, regular fun. Typically, when I'm behind my own computer, it's for the startup suite. If I just want to have some leisure behind my computer, last few months I typically just put on a game, and that's actually linked to the TV here, so that I can use my controller to just game on there. I see you're muted yourself, Alina. Is there a
No, all
there you're
good.
back.
All good.
Okay,
Just avoided some noises that could
okay. The
Oh
barking
yeah.
dog syndrome. No, but so for me, indirectly, I still indeed have the way of compartmentalizing. And I notice if I would go for leisure, just sitting behind my own computer, I would immediately start doing startup suite stuff anyway.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
when it's your project, you can't stop. Like, you don't treat it as work in the beginning, because you treat it as, I don't know, some game, some activity that you're doing. And it actually helps, since I started treating like what I'm doing as a game, like even investment.
Love that.
Yeah, it's become so interesting. For example, like with investment, what I've learned from our marathon, that you treat, like, people who have a lot of money actually treat this like a game, and they treat money not like money in something precious. They treat this like a game. We are trying out, we fail, we win, like, and you just learn the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And just learn to win. And when you treat it this way, you understand that this is not so overwhelming, like you thought before.
Yeah, well, if you make it a game, then it you removed from the pedestal, especially with money, which is on a pedestal almost for everyone. Like, it's like the one thing, or one of those things. But by making it a game, yeah, you add an element of fun to it as well. And I think as well for the digital entrepreneur who does the side hustle thing, which what I'm doing. It's, you do this because you're driven. You have a drive. You have a clear why. Or I hope you have a clear why. You have a reason why you're doing what you're doing. That's it, and that drive keeps you going. And sure, you have days where you're like, I just need to vent. But then you go back to your why. Why am I even doing this? And I've had enough days where I'm thinking like, why am I even doing this? And it's like, oh yeah, wait, this is why I'm doing it. I want to help people. I want to serve people. I want to help the beginning entrepreneur who's just looking like, how am I going to start a business? And that fuels me again, like, okay, I know why I'm doing this. So let's go out and do the thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but why question is important. I figured out that I'm doing this because I cannot not do it. I know that this phrase is not used in English, because...
But I love it. I know it, but it's so true. I cannot not do it. I have the same. I cannot not do it.
Yeah, you can't help thinking about it, and your brain will explode if you're not gonna implement it, And at the same time, when you treat it like a game, for example, if you are a competitive person, it engages you more. It doesn't, you don't treat it like a routine that you have to do, and you just need to get through this. You're like, okay, can I win? And you're trying to do this way, and it's actually interesting,
Well, I even think by making it a game, it's winnable. Every game is winnable. You'll have to put in the work and the effort, but you can do it. Versus, especially, for instance, with money, a lot of people think like money is difficult, money is hard, money is scarce. That's a whole different mindset. That's not like, I can win this, it's winnable. It's no, you then think, I can't do it, or it will always be a struggle. Versus if you make it a game, it's like, I can beat this one.
Yeah, and it becomes interesting, You're trying to find the ways, some cheat codes, something, how you can win this, and it just becomes fun. And you find out people who think like you, and you start, I don't know, exchanging some tips, some life hacks, and that's how it works, I guess.
Yeah. So say someone is just starting out, or he or she just realized, like, hey, I want to be more conscious about my personal energy management and how I spend my energy. What would you recommend to those people?
I would
Where would they
recommend
start?
listening to their body. Your body replies. Like, I know a lot of people will think this about some esoterical stuff, nonsense that they don't believe in, but actually when you learn to listen to your body, you will understand what's going on. When you feel that when you're talking to some person, your shoulders shrug momentarily and you're trying like to
Yeah.
protect yourself, your body is trying to, and even when you don't think about it, your body is trying to tell you how you feel about this person, that you're not comfortable. When you and this is about everything. When your body tells you need to rest, you need to listen and to rest. And observing, like a person not involved in the activity but just observing the reaction, will help you understand when are you the most active during the day, when you have the energy, and also when your energy is on the lower like level. For example, at 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. I don't feel the energy at all. Like, I feel like sleeping, and I wish I was in the kindergarten at this time, to also
Well,
sleep.
well, that's actually, when I came across this article, when we were a kid and you were just like being a little brat. I don't know about you, but sometimes I was just a brat. And then your parents, what would they say? Oh, she just needs some sleep. We just, put her in bed, and in an hour she'll be fine again. But at a certain age, that's no longer a thing. Where you're like, sometimes, some days you have these, you just don't feel like yourself. It's like the day is against you or something. And just having, well, maybe a power nap could already help lift your spirit in that. But it's not really a thing in the current culture that we have, especially what you've also said earlier. If you look at the way we almost wear our lack of sleep as a badge of honor, like, I only need 2 hours
Yeah,
of sleep. That's not how it works for everyone. And sometimes it's indeed so important to listen to your body. What is it that I need? How do I react to certain events, to certain people? And that doesn't mean that you should stay away from them. You can't, put yourself in bubble wrap all the time, because then you would end up in bubble wrap all the time. But yeah, listening to that and doing something with that, checking in with yourself. Why am I experiencing this? I think that's indeed a very good first step to start.
yeah, I guess so. Like, but you learn it with experience, because sometimes you just don't realize this is happening, for example. And also, I would say that when you're a beginner, it's important to understand that what people are used to do is actually not always the right way to do it. Because, for example, when you in the working team, for example, you say, I need a 30-minute sleep, what they would react like,
Wait,
this
what?
person is definitely not serious, you're they will consider that you're talking some nonsense, or that you are pretending to be like some mean person or anything, and not serious, definitely. But you feel this way and you need this, and you know that after you have this 30-minute sleep, it's, when you look at your entire day, 30 minutes, it's like nothing to recharge your energy,
Yeah, if
but
that keeps you, if that lifts you through the day, that's well worth it.
yeah, and people are just so used to be serious, that you just need to strictly work from 9 to 5, and if you're doing something different, it's wrong. But when you're beginning, you need to understand that everything that you feel is not wrong. It's actually showing you how you need to go on,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You have the right to feel that way.
Yeah.
You're telling that for a reason.
You don't need to push yourself, you don't need to like stress out yourself, because your body will eventually reply. That's why the older generation, it's one of the reasons they all have a lot of different illnesses, heart attacks and stuff. It's because they are not caring about how they feel. But eventually your health is the main thing, not your business, not your work, like not the people whom you are trying to please or for whom you're trying to look nice and that they actually, like, I don't know, irritate you or something, or don't respect you. Your health is the most important. So even when you're doing your startup, that is the most important thing you consider in your life, your health is going to be the key for everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's really something that comes first. And I think part of a healthy lifestyle, you need your rest, you need sleep, you need exercise, you need good food. You need to bring it all together because garbage in is garbage out. But if you align it with yourself, what do you need right now? Yeah, that makes a world of difference.
Yeah, but what, Saskia, I wanted to hear your opinion on what do you do with procrastination? Or when it's not one day that you can do stuff, but when it's a continuous
When you're
thing.
in a funk, oh, that's a good one. Oh, I like that question. What do I do when I'm in a funk? Um, for me, it's really about then breaking a cycle, getting out. I used to just take my longboard, which is like a skateboard but longer, so it's you can cruise with it, so to speak. I used to take my
Oh,
longboard and I would just take a train to a different city, and I would just cruise around and just have a mental break, have a not a mental breakdown, but a break. And I would always carry my notebook with me because in those moments, that was actually when you got that creativity again. Like, hey, I can do this, this, and this. So that's one way. Another thing I always did pre-corona was during my car travels, I always listened to a podcast or an audiobook to learn something. And that gave so much inspiration as well. And that really got me out of a funk. And connecting with friends, connecting with fellow entrepreneurs, and just, sometimes venting, but sometimes also just asking the question like, hey, I am struggling with this, or I can't get this and this done. Because typically when you're procrastinating, it's something is holding you back. The question is, what is holding you back and why is this holding you back? And typically for me, it's like I don't know how to do it, or I'm too overwhelmed to do it. Like I know I need to do so much. Combine that with being slightly impatient. Like,
oh
I
yeah.
want to do so much, but I don't, it's like you're being productive, but then you look back at your day and you're like, I wanted to do so much more. So yeah, talking with people, getting inspired by other people, asking them, how do you solve these kind of things? That has helped me a lot. So what do you do when you're in a funk?
Well, I have two ways of like dealing with it. The first one is the one that you described, that I start asking myself questions. Like, if you are postponing this task, what is the reason? Why do you postpone it? How do you, like, lack of knowledge how to do this is also the big struggle for me.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a lot of time to figure out, okay, for example, with those sales, I couldn't pick up my phone and give a call to one person because it took me so much energy even to decide to do this,
Yeah.
and I understood why. Because I don't know what to say. What should I do in order to understand what to say? I should figure out how the script works. I started reading what questions are right to ask, for example. And then I figured this out, and it became really so much easier. I started an easy conversation with people, and some of them even friended me on Facebook, even though they didn't participate in the marathon. But the other thing that I'm doing, for example, like, sometimes this procrastination happens when you are tired, of this routine. And sometimes I just give myself 1 day or 2 days when I just lay there on the couch, watch series until I
Yeah.
feel I'm gonna throw up, because literally, like, it helps me so much because, okay, you want some rest, you don't want to do anything, okay, rest.
Yeah,
Like,
go rest.
until,
Go be a couch burrito. Wrap yourself in a blankie.
yes,
Go be a couch
yes,
burrito. Well, and the thing with procrastination is it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I know many great minds including Einstein, were big procrastinators. And the thing is, the more a deadline approaches, the more creative you become, the more productive you become. So then you get the work done anyway.
I
So
didn't know that he was a procrastinator.
yeah. And I don't know it. I know a lot of big names have been notorious procrastinators. I don't know them on top of my mind. So yeah, I'm 80% sure Einstein was one. But I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find a whole list of other people who are also just notorious procrastinators, which is okay because they got it done anyway. It reminds me of, it was Bill Gates who said it at one moment in time. He said if he had a very difficult assignment, he gave it to the most lazy person because he would
Yeah.
know how to do it in the most easy way. If he gave it to
Yeah.
a very active person, they would make a whole complex thing, and then hopefully it worked. Versus it's about finding the simplest way forward. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's hopefully it doesn't always have to be complicated, and I know I can do that where it's like, oh, it has to be perfect and shiny, and it has to be everything it has to compass everything all at once. But sometimes it's just like, no, keep it simple, make one step forward. Imperfect action is always better than perfectly doing nothing.
Yeah, that is true.
So Alina, if people want to know more about you, where can they go?
They can come over to my Facebook or Instagram. They are always welcome there. Yeah, here is the Instagram link. You can
Yeah.
also find me on TikTok, but sometimes I really talk there about business, and it is weird, because TikTok community became so much educated when in the beginning it was only dancers, who
Yeah, in the
like,
beginning, you really had to do yeah, it was really about dancing, but apparently it's maturing. Although there are, of course, a lot of social media platforms who a bit despise TikTok, like it's
yeah,
not. But
that. But
if
I've
it
learned
works, it
so much
works.
from TikTok. There were a lot of people who actually from the business community, they
Mhm.
share some tips because they want their videos to go viral. They start sharing some tips and you're like, hey, I didn't know about this instrument, I need to try it out. Like some research instruments, some marketing instruments, some, for example, broadcasting instruments. They
Okay.
really share this info and it's interesting. So yeah, I once shared my life hacks about how to create some ideas, or again on how to fight procrastination and just start doing something. And you will find a lot of strange people commenting there, obviously, when your videos come to recommendations, just some random people posting some nonsense, but also there are a lot of people who actually on the same wave with you. So yeah,
Okay.
I can consider myself a TikTok advisor, you see.
Okay. What's your TikTok handle?
I guess.
Otherwise, otherwise share it with me, and I'll add it to the description here so that people, if they want to follow you on TikTok, they can just follow, click on that link, and I'll make sure that's updated within 24 hours after this show.
I guess it's just Alina Toderenchuck, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Okay. Well, sounds good. Well, thank you, Alina, for joining us today. I'm so happy that you decided to jump on this call here today and to talk about personal energy management. We've had a really nice talk. We've talked about habits, we talked about systems, we talked about when to learn something and how to apply it. We talked about procrastination. We talked about so much.
Yeah,
And I
thank you,
really enjoyed
Saskia.
it. Thank you.
I enjoyed it so much. Thank you for having me. Like, it's always a pleasure to communicate with you, and especially when it's your show. I'm so happy to be a part of your show, and I wish you so much success.
Thank you so much. I really enjoy having you as friend of the show. So I'm sure we'll see more of you as well. So to our viewers, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe to the Startup Suite. And if you want to know more about me, this show, The Startup Suite, go to thestartupsuite.com. And of course, join me again next week. Then my guest will be an award-winning advanced digital marketing strategist, and we'll talk about creating a value-based marketing campaign without it feeling like homework. So thank you all for being here with us today. I hope to see you again next week. And until then, bye guys.
Bye bye.